well. So, of course, jumping on in here, it's going to be the GP, still taken away by Rogue. Expect huge fan of that champion.
And Rakan ban away from Torre, one of his better supports in my opinion. That alongside Nautilus and Braum kind of sit in his wheelhouse, and of course you remove the Rakan Xayah combination.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard the Excel side of the stage give a little shout out too when they saw that Rakan get banned away. So Torre not too thrilled about that one. Now even with the nerfs to Aphelios, I think the big one being of course the range on his ultimate going down pretty significantly. There's still going to be a first rotation ban, but the Soraka is one that got hit really heavily and I think is going to slide all the way through. Not to mention the fact neither of these teams ever even played it when it was OP.
Yeah, Rogue have bad memories of Soraka being played against them, not playing it themselves. There's the Ornn ban, 10.4. The rise of the tanks in a lot of people's eyes means that Ornn is just so powerful that you want to get rid of him, but Yuumi did remain untouched on the patch.
Yeah, would be a good lock-in for them. Instead, it's going to be the SENNA now.
Okay.
So a lot of teams around the world have been experimenting with this pick. I think the unanimous sort of agreement is that AD carry SENNA priority has gone down. It's still playable, but nowhere near as strong as it once was. Of course, you gain so many more souls when you don't last hit those minions. So we've seen over, I believe, in the LCK and as well in North America, SENNA Tahm Kench being run bot lane, but not actually SENNA farming. Tahm Kench legitimately does farm. So I'm curious to see what Rogue look to pair up next to this champion.
Yeah, we'll see if it is going to be the supportive SENNA, who still does a lot of damage, of course. AD scaling very strong on that champ. Expect to see Hans Summer playing it if that's how they want to pick it up. The AATROX and the EZREAL picked by Excel, removing Finn's champion in that AATROX, of course.
Yeah, and already sort of telling me that Excel are going to look for that third pick Yuumi right here, not just because it pairs so well with the EZREAL, but also the AATROX too. Would be interesting if Rogue tried to take it away, but Senna Yuumi bot lane, while it could have a lot of like power in poke later on, I don't think is the combo you want to run.
Yeah, it feels like very difficult for the Yuumi to farm in that lane, which would be expected for her. The Tahm Kench is locked. Finn is going to be on his signature pick of the KLED. Used to be known for it as a one-trick when his full name was Boomster Finn. And there is the AZIR finally for Excel. So they didn't go for the Yuumi. They decided instead to get Mickey, one of his comfort picks.
Yeah, that's honestly a little bit surprising for me to see that right now. Now, also with Mickey going for the AZIR, sort of stealing away one of those DPS mages from Larssen in the mid lane too. And that was, Mickey was a player that Vedius just actually called out on the desk as saying very variable in his performances. Had some insane level 3 tower dives where he gets kills against, 1v2 situations. But on something like the AZIR, Excel are looking for consistency out of this player today.
We'll see if Mickey is able to show up on the day. LeBlanc and Yuumi are the next bans. Rogue very much of the same mindset as you and I. Ender, that Yuumi is a little bit too strong to be played for Excel. There's a Tristana. Larssen has played that once already this split. And now we'll see where Rogue decide to go with their final ban.
Yeah, the Tristana ban specifically as a mid lane answer into the AZIR with very good scaling to match alongside it, and of course the outrange later on. If Rogue were able to pick up the Senna plus the Tristana, I'm not sure how Excel were ever going to expect to hit that enemy backline with all the range they could have. Now, the real wonder for me is now with the Yuumi banned away, are Excel going to like double down and say like run Braum in the bot lane? I don't like that. That's very safe, especially against someone like the Tahm Kench. I would actually like to see maybe a little bit more, priority champions that could look to roam around and get out of this lane or pair up with a jungler to fight.
There's a couple of picks I really like. Pyke and Thresh. Pyke and Thresh here, because you can isolate out the enemy, but instead it's going to be the Karma locked in, and we have seen some tank Karma support rising up in priority.
Yeah, I mean, this is a mage support. A lot of people have been talking about running into the Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench, not a super popular champion here in Europe. We much prefer.
Thank goodness.
Yes, exactly, right? So this is going to be the EZREAL Karma bot lane, almost certainly here, which has insane poke, insane push from level 1. Excel are looking to play for tower plates against the enemy. Senna Tahm Kench do not clear waves very fast at all, so this game, Excel should be looking to siege that bot lane tower early.
Rogue will lock in EKKO for Inspired, taking a leaf out of Razork's book after he beat G2 with that jungler just a while ago. And we'll see where they go for their final pick. Expecting it to be a mid laner. Into the AZIR. Oh, it's going to be
wait a second.
Mid and LEC Spring in the jungle here for Inspired.
Okay, this comp is getting a little bit whack now from Rogue because like right now you have like the scaling bot lane option where Tahm Kench is going to be farming. You have heavy dive too with the KLED and the EKKO. To me, this is reading most like Rogue want to look to play the entire map. KLED and EKKO both being very strong in side lanes, trying to play that 1-3-1 style. Or of course you have Tahm Kench that can also flex around the map. But Excel are just going to say we're going to throw engage into that type of split push idea.
Give you a lot of engage with the ZAC. Of course, the Karma able to speed the team up as well as they go in. So Excel will be looking to jump on whoever is at a numbers disadvantage here from the Rogue lineup.
Yeah, and this was the one weakness I was going to point to in Excel's comp was when you run an AATROX in the top lane, when you run one of these mage supports, where do you find the engage from your fights? Is it a Sejuani? No, that got banned. Instead, it will be another of these tank junglers. We've talked a lot, or we've heard a lot about the Bomby Cinder buffs, the Cinder Hulk buffs as well. So we're going to dive a little bit more into that when we get into game. But ZAC is one of those tank junglers that has been picking up steam.
Caedrel, one of the key players for Excel, when he gets them ahead in the early game, they tend to be able to convert. Both these teams actually have a winning record when they're behind at 15, so we'll see exactly how that plays out as the game goes on. But at the moment, very much all on the line for these two teams. Rogue would be expecting to be higher than 5th place. Excel looking at playoffs from the outside, currently sitting in 7th. Really a do-or-die match for them. They have to start picking up games against teams like Rogue, against teams like Mad, against teams like Origin, G2, Fnatic, Misfits, everyone above them, basically. They need to start winning.
And we look to the first game of Week 6 for these teams to come in on a strong footing here. These squads looking against each other, down each other's eye to see who will jump to the playoffs towards the end.
And on to Summoner's Rift we go. First game of the day, probably one of the biggest in terms of playoff implications, in terms of standings implications. Of course, losing here for Excel wouldn't be the end of their run, but it does make things a jolly lot harder when we get later on. And while Rogue set up with Finn in the river, we see a very zoomed in mini-map just to show you exactly where everyone is. You can see a couple of wards coming down off towards the side, just to make sure that no one is going for the invade.
Afterwards? No.
Afterwards.
Okay, anyways. Never mind, moving straight along.
Yeah,
thanks for the save.
Thankful for both does. Very kind of him. Jumps in. Make sure that you're not stuck in the awkwardness of that little joke there. And okay, talk to me about these junglers. Talk to me about what we're going to do in the early game.
Okay, so here's the deal: is looking at these two comps, it is very clear that Excel have very strong scaling. When you look at having a mage support in the bot lane next to an EZREAL, next to an AZIR as well, a tank jungler, Excel should be looking very, very good the later we get into this game in terms of the 5v5. Whereas the side of Rogue, they have a LEE SIN in the jungle who's going to get outscaled by the ZAC. You have the KLED that wants to hit level 6, start roaming and making things happen, an EKKO that wants to spread out into a side lane. So I am looking at Inspired in particular to try and get the ball rolling a little bit earlier, which is a bit different for Inspired as a player because he is very much the type of guy that doesn't spend a ton of time around his lanes. He's more focused on getting the full clear and then ganking. But already I love to see this adaptation from him.
Well, the gank around the mid lane, Mickey's going to be able to step here behind the minions, and Inspired will just walk him out of the lane. Expect Finn actually trading here on the top side. Finn with a bear trap on a rope. Doesn't tank up a tower shot. Does take one after he jumps off Skull.
Yeah, so big chunk up in the top lane, but you can see Inspired was trying to go red to red, thinking that Caedrel maybe started on the bot side of his jungle. Now Inspired is completely confused because Caedrel, of course, went for his wolf camp first. Just now is going to see Caedrel in vision, who of course immediately clears the way too. So while Inspired was looking for an early play with a level 1 EKKO and a minion wave to block any Sonic wave from Inspired, he was never going to make that play happen in that middle lane, and now is going to be set a little bit behind.
We will talk a little bit about the bottom lanes as well. It's a Spectral Sickle sitting on Hans Summer, Doran's shield on Vander. I believe when Vulcan played it, he took Doran's ring in the lane for a little bit of extra harass and mana regeneration, but the shield here, because you're going to take so much poke, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, when you're looking at Karma EZREAL, you're not the one poking in this lane medic, so I think this is the right decision from them, and you can see that the way you play this lane is Hansama, as you said, doesn't farm. He's looking to poke to try and stack souls. You, of course, I believe, get a 25% drop rate when you don't farm normal CS. Increased dramatically, of course, on those cannon minions. So we'll be playing the long game, and can sometimes CS, but definitely doesn't want to drop that penalty.
Caedrel sitting on his Krugs here. Has yet to do the blue buff. It's just on the top side of the map, trying to keep Expect alive, as Inspired did look for a gank. So we'll see which jungler is able to make that first impact on the map, because Excel especially will be very happy if Inspired is just nullified in the early game, doesn't really get too much off. Here we go. Finn's going to jump in. Here comes the stretching strike. He jumps. Caedrel already forward. Finn gets first blood, though. Caedrel there too late. Finn looking to remount onto Skull. Just gets away with the safeguard.
Finn popping off right there on the KLED. Love to see it out of him. Last time he ran the KLED, things did not go this well up against Whippo ZAC in the top lane. This time, though, sees the ZAC in the jungle and pulls off the 1v2 right there. Underneath the tower, too, like, he'd been playing super, super aggressive and thought, you know, even with the enemy jungle around, he could go forward for that trade.
Part of the power of having Skull as well. You can dismount, avoid some of that damage.
So he jumps in for the trade right here and is able to dodge the big damage coming through from AATROX 2 and just, I mean, kills him. I think he buffers the pullback there from Caedrel's Q with his own Q, so still gets the damage off, and Caedrel can't finish that one right there. It was one of the weaknesses I felt in Caedrel's path, because the way that Caedrel was sort of pathing there was to match Inspired, to be on the same side of the map to protect his top laner, but as soon as you try to go offensive, that's where Inspired was able to come in and say, hey, we still win this 2v2, man.
And Rogue off to a good start. 4 minutes in, they would have about a 500 gold lead. Bottom lane is always going to be a bit tricky for them. They're always going to be pushed in. But now they can look once again to try and catch out Expect. It's both Larssen and Inspired going up here. Phase dive across the wall, followed by the safe.
Ooh, I like this a lot.
Safeguard. Expect does still have flash. No teleport. Parallel convergence comes down. Expect able to dodge out to the side of it. Puts down the infernal chains. Looking for the pullback. Expect still alive for the moment, but he will fall. Inspired flashes out a tower aggro. Great play from Rogue.
Really nicely played right there, using Finn's passive to drop the turret aggro and really bully Expect. Like, this guy had just teleported back into lane. Now he's died again. He's lost the flash too, so that's a full minion wave that is going to be denied, and I don't think Excel can realistically counterattack on the other side of the map. You know, Tori's out of mana. Caedrel wasn't there to set up a counterattack, so they're just not going to get anything.
And I love the roam from Larssen as well. Usually a player we talk about spending a lot of time in his lane. Usually he's always there. He's trying to just get around, get the wave pushed up and then get back. And we can see historically at the 5-minute mark, he spends about 90% of his time in lane. 10 minutes only goes down to 77%. At 15, it's still over half his time in the lane. But here, he's already roaming around and helping out his team.
Yeah, of course, spends the most time of any player in these, any mid laner in these windows in that middle lane. Now, was looking like Caedrel wanted to make a move for himself down in this bottom side. One thing we didn't quite notice, though, is Vander's running TP. So he takes poke, he recalls, comes back with a Bomby Cinder himself. So if this turns into a 3v3 down bot side, it should definitely go in Rogue's favor, except the Hansama's very low. Assuming, of course, that Excel dived the tower, that's when the Rogue went.
Inspired. Can't have his Krugs smitten away from him. But, of course, the medium-sized Krugs still bear the brunt of the XP these days. So not too much of a loss there for Inspired. Still does lose out just a tad. Both of the junglers are level 5. Top laner's hitting level 6 as well. I wonder if we'll see Finn going for a charge gank.
He always does.
Lane.
Honestly,
he always does.
Finn, like, if you talk about how Larssen stays in his lane, the opposite is true of Finn, right? This guy hits 6 and leaves. Now, that may change because he's already got a kill and an assist. He's really trying to bully Expect up in this top side too. You can see trading just outside of the tower range, knowing that he's going to remount. And with a Larssen on the way, Larssen will pick up the honey fruits. Does he die? I don't think you go for the dive here without Lee Sin around.
You don't need to. You can just go get the honey fruits. Expect doesn't have teleport to get back into the lane, so Finn can push this one up as quickly as he wants. And he's going to have about a 15 CS lead when this wave crashes in. Bot lane, not really too much of a CS advantage being built up for the EZREAL and the Karma, as Vander has been farming pretty well. Actually get himself a Balmy Cinder first on the TAHM KENCH. Now has a passive when you put some CC on someone that you do this little burst of damage alongside the general tick of the Barmies itself.
Yeah, and of course that's not whenever you do any CC, that's whenever you do a CC with a 12-second cooldown. Yeah. So it's not like you have champions with like tons of CC in their kit. They're like Nautilus doesn't get like 14 ripples off.
I wish you did. As
if he needs any more power, man. Like, no, so Vander will be able to use this to take a little bit better trades, and this is a very similar vein to what we saw actually out of Cloud9's bot lane. I don't think it was the Sunfire Cape, rather it was the Dead Man's Plate for that extra utility, the ability to close the gap more, but Vander just wants a little bit more damage here.
Was a different patch, of course. They were playing on 10.3, we're playing on 10.4, so Sunfire Cape was buffed on this patch, and it seems to be that's the reason Vander's going towards it. Junglers now hit level 6, both mid laners already past that mark. We'll see if XL want to fight around this Rift Herald, because they've already brought their bot lane up towards this. Sheen on Patrik has been completed, so he has a bit of a spike in power, a bit of a spiking damage.
The really interesting thing right now is that it is Excel's duo lane, usually with pressure in this matchup, while it's Rogue's top laner with that push down bot side. So right now, Excel are committing Caedrel to the top side of the map where Tori and Patrik are, but bot lane, Finn is fighting in between the towers, trying to deny as much as he can. You can already see it's almost a 30 CS difference between both him and Expect. So now he takes that priority and starts the rotation up towards the top side. And notice Expect's TP won't be back for another 30 or 40 seconds.
And the speed of rotation for Finn with that charge is so much quicker than Expect. He can get across towards his Rift Herald if needed. He can even just sit in this bottom side of mid lane bush and keep Inspired very happy as they get the Rift Herald. Rogue will secure it. And 9 minutes in, they have 1,000 gold lead. Rift Herald in their back pocket and should be able to extend that.
I give a small clap to Hansama for walking down to the Rift Herald. No, he wasn't needed to secure it, but all those neutral objectives are going to drop you 2 fat souls to go ahead and grab for yourself. And
Fat soul.
It's a fat soul, man. Yeah, right now on the Sen, he's sitting at 34 stacks, so 6 away from getting another of those 20 stack bonuses and feeling real good about himself.
Bonus is always giving you extra range, extra crit chance, and then lifesteal in the end as well.
Once you hit 100%.
Yeah, but you know, expect him to do it here. Elastic String's not coming in, but...
What?
Okay, so Caedrel actually walked over a ward to get down here. I'm pretty sure he was just being used to push out the wave. And now Expect and Caedrel will come up towards the Ocean Dragon. Are they going to start it off? Mickey has prio in mid if you can push this out. Instead, they decide, we can't do it. Yeah. We don't know where Inspired is.
The thing is, it's really hard for Caedrel to do a lot in this matchup. Like, on the ZAC, like, you need time. You know, the Elastic Slingshot actually gains range the more ranks you put into it, so his ganks aren't really that great until you have about 4 points in that one. His dueling is absolutely dreadful, right? And his lanes around him need time to scale up too, so, I mean, him getting a Scuttle Crab is great for him, but his bot lane getting jumped on now.
Finn pops the bear trap on the rope, gets the flash in as Expect is getting dived. Inspired with the kick, misses the Sonic Wave. That was not the best play I've ever seen from Inspired. Caedrel is waiting just around the corner in case Inspired and Finn decide to go for the dive, but with Larssen coming down, I think Caedrel will retreat, and this will be a second tower plate, at least in that bottom lane, probably one more. They're looking for 3 if they can get it. Rift Herald is actually going to get popped, so they're looking for the entire tower.
Okay, here's the thing. Expect has TP, and right now both Mickey and Caedrel are here. They're going to look for the fight, but with Larssen close by, like, I really just don't think you can do that.
First tower of the game goes to Rogue. Well played by them. 2,500 gold ahead already, and 11 minutes in. Rogue are pretty much dismantling Excel, and we said that they have Excel have good scaling, but you can't fall this far behind and expect to outscale.
Yeah, you're definitely just going to be praying for more time here, and it was sort of the challenge that Rogue presented themselves in their draft. You know, we called it out early. They need to, you know, get the ball rolling early on. Inspired needs to be active, and then they need to play the full map game using the KENCH ultimates, using Larssen as side lane, all of these things. So this game is truly going to be a test for this Rogue squad. We said, do they actually pull it off in the mid game? Well, with a comp like this, you have to. Otherwise, you make 1 or 2, you know, medium-sized mistakes, and all of a sudden, AZIR has 3 items, EZREAL has 3 items, and you just lose because you're playing 4 melees and a SENNA who doesn't have the itemization to match up against an AZIR and an EZREAL that have been farming the entire game, and you're just going to lose that.
Rogue hoping that they can keep this snowball rolling, because at the moment they are well in control of the game. Want to remind people of the playoff implications for these two teams. Excel lost to Rogue last time they played. Excel are currently sitting in 7th place, 1 outside of the playoff spots. Of course, only top 6 get through. And a win here would have been incredibly good for them. But so far, Excel have actually really struggled to beat any teams above them this split. You can see they've had 1 win against Mad Lions, 1 against SK, 2 against Schalke, 1 against Vitality. Only Mad Lions are above them in the standings right now. But unless you start picking up wins against teams like Rogue, against teams like Misfits, more wins against teams like Mad, it's going to be very hard to make those playoff dreams a reality.
Larssen gets jumped on there quickly, taking a pretty aggressive trade with Mickey right in the area. Mickey's going to go for it.
And then he's going to walk away.
He's going to walk away.
That's some good play-by-play though, Ender.
No problem.
Build it up really nicely,
for you.
Yeah.
You see, I wanted to talk about how Excel are right now sitting in 7th place and needed to find those wins, like you were saying. And for a team with playoff aspirations, anything that is not finishing top 6 in the regular season and having a chance in the best of 5s would be a huge disappointment.
So Caedrel's going to realize that his red buff is being invaded as Vander clears out the control ward. It's only Torre and Caedrel here. It'll be very difficult for them to defend. Of course, it could just end up being a smite fight, but with the control ward going down once again. Oh, Caedrel gets it. Stretching strike into smite. secures it for himself. Good stuff from the XL jungler, keeping himself actually just a little bit ahead in terms of CS. And he's now built himself that Cinderhulk. So he's going to have a little bit more impact on the ZAC. When you land that CC, you're getting the Immolate passive down, you're getting that bit of extra damage down. And ZAC actually can put down a lot of DPS himself in these fights. Finn continues to trade onto Expect. Expect is just on the losing side of this matchup. You can't do much into the Tiamat, into the Phage being built up. It's going to be very difficult for Expect in a 1v1.
Right. The thing is, at this point, Expect, like, well, yes, he loses the trades. At the end of the day, the wave gets pushed into his tower, and he farms it. So the CS differential should not extend much more than the 15 to 20 it's been for the last 5 or so minutes. The bigger question is, well, Finn is 1-0-1. He was 1-0-1 at, what, 6 minutes into the game after finding that tower dive. So now he needs to take that pressure he has in bottom lane and find the rotations that we know he's so good at on this KLED pick. And the fact is, right now, there's not the deep vision Rogue would really like. You know, he can't overextend in that bot side without his jungler nearby as well. So right now, the game has slowed down a bit. And now that turret plates have fallen, I really want to see Rogue make an effort to knock down another one of these outer turrets. And then, as we saw earlier, walk into the enemy jungle. Because you can really shut down ZAC by just starting to take away camps with your stronger skirmishing and, you know, honestly, just stronger team composition at this point.
And you can hide your numbers as well with the Curse of the Black Mist. It's very easy to get 3 or 4 people in the enemy jungle, and XL will only think there's 1 or 2 perhaps there. As you said, the game has slowed down a little bit, and I want to just approach a hypothetical question for you here.
Okay.
We've had an Ocean Dragon, we've had a Cloud Dragon, so that means we're either going to get Infernal or Mountain. 2 of the dragons that really affect the layout of the jungle and the layout of Summoner's Rift. Looking at these 2 teams, do you think there's anything, either of those rifts, that they would prefer to be playing with?
So right now, I think that Excel's comp would benefit more from a Mountain Drake map than a Fire map. And the main reason behind that is, right now they have a lot of kite back tools. They have a ton of zone control. If you figure, you know, EZREAL could still go into an Iceborne Gauntlet. We'll wait and see what that is. But with the Sand Soldiers as well, they have really effective zone control. And having the extra walls to sort of bolster your defensive line could be very good. And you don't want to get dove on without anywhere to hide with an Infernal Map.
Good flash from Expect across the wall. The bear traps on the rope keep connecting, landing those grievous wounds. Of course, so good against the Aatrox means you don't need to path towards the Executioner's calling. And now this will be the second rift out for Rogue. They secure it just from the pressure from Finn. And Rogue will look to use that to break open one of these turrets, hopefully. Yeah,
so Inspired is going to take the 4-second Baron Recall buff to get a quick reset off and now path bot side. Now, what I expect to see is this Herald to go into mid lane very, very quickly. Assuming that Rogue, their duo, resets now or starts pathing down towards the Drake, they could drop that Herald in mid lane to set up for the Cloud Drake that is spawned right now. And right now, they're really, really strong. You consider a level 12 Larssen in the mid lane with full level lead, completed item in top lane as well.
Larssen has the chrono break, can just jump back if needed. Sentinel comes out as well. Larssen goes back.
Ooh.
Mickey flashes away from Inspired, and you say the Rift Herald is going to come down mid. It comes down straight away. Caedrel jumping in, no Torre on his way as well, but Caedrel just kicks straight back. Still has the passive, still has his life, still able to survive. Power Convergence jumped into by Finn and Larssen, and with the Rift Herald pushing in the tower, this is going to be a very dead Caedrel. He falls, 3 kills so far to Rogue, as they maybe look for another charge out of this Rift Herald.
Yeah, they're going to try to escort that all the way in. Maybe look for another dive here. Finn does have the flash if he wants to get really crazy.
Jump straight in, bear trap on the rope, looking to pull back Torre, but the flash away from the Karma will keep him safe. TP comes in from Expect, that turret's going to fall, and now Expect is not in the best of shapes. Teleport up towards the top lane by Larssen, he's looking to try and catch out Patrik in the side lane. The jump in from Inspired, Expect is down, KENCH gets it, and now Patrik has to try and escape from Larssen. Look at the picture-in-picture, now it's on a main screen.
He has
Larssen
no mana.
trading against it. Patrik, you've got no mana, are you freak? No, at the moment he's just going to outplay on a ward though. Jumps back in, yes! That was perfect from Patrik. Knew he was on a ward, jumped straight back in.
And he's just going to recall in the center of the lane. He's going to get away with it too. Beautiful stuff right there. As the rest of his team crumbles, Patrik is able to find a shutdown in return. And if you notice, throughout all of that, Rogue were able to pick off the 2 towers in the mid lane. They got a couple of kills. And now they should be able to set up for another Dragon. We're going to take a look at this 1v1 up in the top lane, because at the start, it looks great for Rogue. Larssen, he has level 12 against level 10. He has mana, Patrik doesn't. But Larssen doesn't have his ultimate and misses that initial Q with a good flash away from Patrik. So auto attack for auto attack, Patrik's winning.
So I'm 90% sure Patrik knows this is warded, because actually Larssen placed the ward in the middle of the fight. And if Patrik is paying enough attention, you can see Larssen path towards it, and then you expect him to have placed it the ward. So maybe I'm giving him too much credit there, but I saw the movement,
regardless, it was good
placed
stuff,
it in the middle of the fight. Great stuff from Patrik. Maybe a sign of life for XL, but Rogue very much still in the driver's seat. We've got a mountain rift coming up. You said that's perhaps what XL would be hoping for out of the rifts. And of course, Finn will have more places to charge through the jungle as well.
Yeah, there's also more places to try and block them all.
Yep.
But I mean, he doesn't really get too annoyed by that. It's also the Iceborne Gauntlet from EZREAL, so I think all of these things are lining up to be very good.
Inspired going in, gets the kick. World Ender popped by Expect. Hans Summer and Vander on the chase, but Expect can just dodge away. Caedrel was there to protect his fellow teammate, but Rogue now will get their 4th turret of the game.
Rogue are playing the map very, very well right now. They're grouping up around to try and knock out all these outer turrets. And now it's just about getting that deeper vision inside the enemy jungle. There's still no Baron on the map. Rogue don't need to be too tempted to start that one up. Let's be honest, they're never going to be able to take that objective quickly.
You're saying SENNA can't take it quickly?
I'm saying support SENNA and ADC Tom KENCH, not the fastest I've ever seen.
Not the quickest. You can see Finn and Larssen topping the gold numbers right now. Patrik is quite close behind Mickey, although he's not had a huge impact on the map. Has farmed up okay. He's about 15, 16 CS up, so he's sitting close as well. But Expect is miles down, 2,400 gold behind his counterpart.
Yeah, and the great thing, and one of the reasons why, like, obviously Rogue have a lead, they have some kills on Finn and Inspired too, but now that we've hit mid-game, it's mostly Larssen and Finn that are picking up the CS in all 3 lanes. You know, that's how we're going to transition forward, especially as they push out side lanes and start to collapse on towards the rest of the team. We'll keep our eyes on that one.
I'm just saying, if I'm Vander here and I've been allowed to CS as a support, I'm getting every single CS I can. I'm missing them all because I can't CS because I'm a support main, but I'm trying at least. That's what the Sunfire Cape does as well. It helps you out.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
The minions. So, as you said, we have approached mid-game. You know, those tier 1 of turrets have started to fall. What are your expectations in terms of how team fights and how skirmishes will play out? Because we already see Rogue going for the 1-3-1 we discussed.
Yeah, so basically every fight should be initiated by Rogue. That's the expectation, considering that XL are down 4k gold at the moment. Unless they themselves are trying to pick off a target in the side lane, they're probably going to be taking the back foot. And what Rogue are going to be doing is getting Larssen, getting Finn to push out in those side lanes, and then look to rotate through the enemy jungle and collapse on the enemy team. So there's a couple of steps that need to go into place before the full initiation can happen. I think the first push is going to sort of turn into a scouting attempt where you cut through the enemy jungle, you get your support nearby you, you place some deep vision to actually allow you to know exactly what that path is going to look like. And then the next time, you know, you're Finn and you get the push off and you know Expect is going to be sitting under his tower trying to farm, that's when you hope that XL are out of position, because now that XL have lost that tier 2 tower in the mid lane, they are so vulnerable whenever they step forward to contest that mid wave and ever try to get pushed, because there's just no tower to run back defensively into. And
I think you set it up perfectly, Ender. I know exactly what to expect. Rogue looking for the flanks.
You're welcome.
Getting in from the side. XL will be trying to react to that, trying to keep their vision game pretty exceptional. And now, Ender, I do want to quick stat you here for a second. Do you know how Trevor loves his statistics?
I am aware.
What do you think XL's win rate is on red side this year? In 2020, not including the Neo Surf Cup, just in the LEC.
100%.
It's less than 100%. I'll give you options. Is
80%.
Is it more than 50 or less than 50?
80%.
It's 0%.
It's
We're not going to play this game anymore. They have yet to win a game on red side as Finn jumps in. Patrik tried to trade against him. Dawning Shadow coming out. Inspired here in time with the kickback. Now jumps on to Expect. Inspired arrived in the nick of time, but Torre's now here to help Patrik. Finn jumping forward, back onto Skull. Caedrel looking for the flank, but can't get there. Even with the true shot barrage, that won't be enough. Great play from Rogue.
Finn just remounts after getting the kill, and XL have to watch him walk away right there.
Yep.
XL tried to respond. Caedrel and Torre on the way, but it is Rogue going aggressive right there, finding the initial kill, and it continues to be a very solid game plan from Rogue. And the next objective on the cards is going to be that Mountain Drake. Look for a fight around that one, because right now everything seems to be according to plan. But these next 10 minutes are crucial, because if you don't start to extend the lead, start to, play around a Baron, get these, inhib towers falling down, the scaling from XL should catch up.
I always hate myself when I ask the question, at what point does the scaling catch up? Are we do you need 3 items on the EZREAL? Do you need 3 items on the AZIR? Because you've got Morella Nomicon finished, you've got Blade of the Ruin King on its way for Patrik.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because of course in the context of the game, 5k gold down, like XL need more items. So it's not just a flat number you can always point to when, you know, Rogue are going to be about a half item ahead of XL for the rest of the game until they start to cap out. For me, I look more at how is the dynamic of this team fight, because even in the super late game, there's a very clear goal for Rogue in these fights. It's Larssen with a super low cooldown ultimate on that EKKO, diving in the backline, trying to assassinate a Mickey or a Patrik. But that gets so much harder as they get items, and especially as they get survival items, right? If a Zhonya's were ever to come out, or a Banshee fail, anything like this is going to make it near impossible for Rogue's divers in Finn or Larssen to ever find that kill. And there's also things like the shielding coming through from Torre, so it will stack up very, very quickly and sort of reach a point of critical mass where Rogue won't feel like they have any good way in a 5v5 to fight.
Well, they don't always have to play the 5v5. Can keep looking for that 1-3-1. At the moment, they're setting up vision around the Baron with that 5,000 gold lead. They picked up another dragon as well. The Mountain Drake is now in their back pocket, and Larssen is the one to be sent towards top. He's got a Lich Bane and Proto Belt. You've got Hans actually going Umbral Glaive here on the AD carry / support center. I quite like it. It's his job to ward, and it's his job to clear out wards. Well,
the important thing, too, on that build is that it's going to be the cheapest build you can go for on the Senna, who's not farming for the majority of the game, so it is very important. Oh, as he takes big damage right there. It is important to go for those cheap items.
Here we go, Elastic Slingshot in.
TP's behind, here we go!
Behind, KLED coming in as well. They're looking for the flank. Dawning Shadow coming out, but here comes Finn. Chases Torre down. Counter teleport used by XL. Torre not able to survive, and now Patrik's on the menu. He's down. Expect tries to get on the back line, but Hans just heals himself back up. Mickey doing a little bit of damage, but Vander gobbles up Expect, spits him back out, and now Expect is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Caedrel put into blob form and taken out by Larssen. Even used the ult to do it. Expect trying to fight B3, but there's not really much he can do here. Flashes away, dodges the bear trap on a rope, but Finn should have the joust in just a second. Larssen has the flank. Here comes the Abyssal Voyage.
Rogue very quick on the counterattack right there. Just going to try and chase down Expect, but the longer he stays alive, the longer Rogue go without starting up this Baron.
But now he's dead. So
now he's dead.
The Baron. Hans died. I didn't see that, actually. Mickey just took out Hans.
Wow.
Maybe Hans.
And now they don't get the Baron.
Yeah. Can't get the Baron because of that, and as you say, they have a very slow Baron anyway, so it would have been touch and go with how long Expect survived, but you could see the flanking possibilities in that last fight, Ender.
I mean, Rogue obviously just responded very, very well right there, very fast on it, but also, like, why are XL trying to dive the mid lane tower, right? Like, you're down 6k gold, time is your ally, all you have to do is not get impatient, but they go super, super ham looking for the dive right there. Expect isn't able to join the fight as fast as Finn, not like it would have actually mattered, because Rogue are just outgunning them right now. And you can see in the replay one more time, like, it's already after XL initiated. You can see Mickey isn't there, Expect isn't there. It is just a hopeless attempt from XL, and Rogue, with the superior dive comp, with the ability to quickly react, are able to pounce.
Yeah, and it lasts for a long time. Mickey really not in the position to do too much damage. Wasn't even able to get in the fight. Larssen here pops his ult to make sure that he gets the kill on Caedrel.
How does Hansama die?
I think he
it's
oversets.
Mickey.
Yeah.
Going for the souls.
Doesn't respect Mickey. Mickey actually does a really good job of dodging around, knowing there's a control ward in the bush. And Hansama goes for those missed fragments. The absolution stacks. And you can see less damage on Hansama than on Vander that fight, but a lot of damage on Expect as he's caught out in a side lane once again. That's just the charge from Finn used. Caedrel's going to get jumped on by Larssen. Patrik trying to rattle out the mystic shots, but not really finding too much out of those. And Rogue have pressure now in the mid lane and in the bottom lane, and a man advantage for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, Rogue just continuing to try and find these skirmishes, find picks, fight is the name of the game for them. As we pointed out earlier, starting up the Baron isn't really a great option for them, so it really is about trying to pounce on any XL member that strays too far away from their tower. You can see, even with Expect dead, no one's really bot side to match Finn just yet, so he's able to get that push off, walk inside the enemy jungle, and look for some sort of a fight. Now, right now, Rogue are going to be resetting. Looks like they want to play for the Mountain Drake, which XL should not contest. Just give that one up. You are not going to win a fight right now. That's just not the way it works. And just wait for more items. You know? That's got to be the play.
Really does. It's a 7,000 gold lead, and 4,000 of that is in Finn's pockets. He's 4,000 ahead of Expect. Inspired is 2,000 ahead of Caedrel. And with a Death Dance Black Cleaver and a BF sword alongside that Tiamat. I expect that to be a GA.
Yep.
Next up for Finn, compared to just the Black Cleaver. on Expect. He's struggling. He's struggling. Finn on the front line here as they all dive towards Torre, but Torre has flash. Caedrel jumping in. Yeah, doesn't really want to go too much further.
Look at Larssen on the flank right here.
A great flank position. Inspired looking for the kick. Caedrel gonna let's bounce through it. The Dawning Shadow coming out as well, but Inspired and has to get away. Larssen wasn't able to find the flank he wanted. What summoners were burned? Only Torre's flash. And nothing from the side of Rogue. So they're trying to find a pick before this Mountain Dragon comes up.
Yeah, Excel lost a lot of ultimates right now, though. So their plan, I think, should be to just clear this wave in mid lane and then go get vision on the top side of the map, inside of the river again. Don't walk into the enemy jungle, or don't walk into the enemy side of the map, inside the jungle, inside that river where Rogue are setting up for the Mountain Drake. Instead, just make sure that Rogue can't start up the Baron without their knowledge. Now, things start to change, perhaps for Excel, around the next Mountain Drake that spawns in 5 minutes. A lot of teams are very afraid to give up the Dragon Soul, and for good reason, right? Yeah. It's a permanent buff, it's very, very strong, but they're gonna have to reassess in 5 minutes. Are they actually close enough to compete? You know, Mickey is pretty decently close to finishing off that Rabadon's Death Cap. That's certainly a boost up in power, but still nothing compared to the level 16 Larssen with his own Rabadons on the other side.
Larssen having an exceptional game so far. 5-1-1 has been all over the map, really helping Rogue get this lead that they have developed. Has consistently been very good in the lane, and we said earlier, you know, he stays in the lane a lot of the time, but here it's been more about how he's impacted other lanes, especially going up and helping out Finn. And Rogue, I think, you know, we asked on the analyst desk, could they prove that they belong, you know, in that top 4, in that top 3? This game does go some way to doing that. Of course, Excel below them in the standings, but having a dominant performance like this, assuming they close it out effectively, will definitely work out. Vander there, Larssen jumping into Mickey as well, but he's going to get slid across. Inspired comes in with a kick, trying to put the damage down onto Larssen, but can't get it. And now Torre's caught out. This is too easy for Rogue. They take 2 kills. Basically, no health bar has dropped below even half. And Excel just have to retreat.
Yeah, Rogue continuing to pick off members of Excel, and you talk about improvement week to week for this team. Last week, they lost to Fnatic, and I was so disappointed with them. They were not proactive at all. They just sort of let themselves get beat. They were not playing together. They were not playing on the same page. This game, it has been anything but that. They've been constantly aggressive. They have been on the same page, finding initiations, reacting to plays, and now they're setting up for one another with Larssen coming on the flank.
Just going to jump away, has to use the flash as well. Caedrel in the bush. True Shot Barrage comes out, but already Expect is down. And once again, no one from Rogue is really hurting. Excel might look for the steal. Caedrel could go in for it, but Larssen still has that flank position. Straight up to Patrik, dives in, jumps back. Dawning Shadow's not going to be enough damage. Paolo Convergence is coming out as Caedrel's forced away. Patrik healed up with the Athene's Unholy Grail from the Karma, but this will be Baron. Rogue totally in control of this game. 31 minutes in, they are 13 kills to 2 up. Caedrel chased off once again by Larssen. This is impeccable stuff by Rogue, 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, Larssen with the lead right there, calls for his team, just do Baron. I can zone Caedrel away. 1v2 pretty much the entire time with Patrik there at start, Torre coming around eventually. Very good stuff from them, and this is the fight one more time. You know, Mickey thinks he can push, calling Torre over to help him out with that one, but this is the strength of Rogue's comp. With the Tahm Kench ultimate, the global SENNA R as well. Like, you're going to punish side lanes every single time, and Excel just haven't quite appeared to have realized that just yet as they fall victim once more.
And you can see what Larssen does so well here. He's not sitting on the Baron. He's not sitting in the bushes you expect him to. He's looking for this flank.
Yeah, and I think he might have seen Caedrel right there too.
Does with the Oracle's observation.
With the sweeper, yeah, exactly. So they were able to jump on over and get that kill on to Expect. Torre's not going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, I mean, playing a Karma in a game like this is kind of just I get jumped on and probably die in the majority of fights. Karma, you really want to be kiting back a little bit more or on the front foot, chasing people down.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. We talked about the Karma EZREAL in draft and like, hey, you want to play for tower plates in this type of matchup.
They didn't get a single tower plate.
They did 800 damage to the bot lane tower. That tower is still surviving. So that clearly did not go all according to plan. Now that Rogue have the Baron buff, everything will for them. You have Baron in all 3 lanes, Larssen up topside, Finn on the KLED with the ultimate down bottom lane too. They're going to try and sync up these waves to crash at a similar time as best they can, and honestly, knock down these towers and then start a fight when Excel are split up.
Caedrel looking for the elastic slingshot, but can't land it. Expect Looking to see if he can get his 8th death of the game. 0-7-0.
I don't think he's looking for that, man.
Yeah, but he's 2 levels down on Finn, so it's going to be very difficult for him to match in the pure 1v1. Mickey's trying to do what he can against Larssen in that top lane. They're equal level, but you can see Finn just walks up to the turret, pushes it down. Expect trying to trade onto him, but his health bar isn't really moving too far. Bear trap on a rope will stop him, and now Rogue just push in mid. Stretching elastic slingshot coming out from Caedrel, but can't find the connection as he decides not to use it. And the turrets are just getting chipped away piece by piece here by Rogue.
Yeah, Excel have one way to initiate a fight. It is Caedrel with an elastic slingshot going in, and if that misses, it's hopeless. You know, right now, all these towers are getting chipped down below 50% HP. Excel are gonna have to decide, do we give up all 3 inhibitors, or do we actually go for a fight?
At the moment, it looks like they're just gonna try and continue this 1-3-1 defense, but this mid lane tower is gonna go. Not really too much you can do about that. Hans Summer sitting at over 100 souls already as Caedrel jumps in, stretching strike lands, tries to pull back Hans Summer, but doesn't land it. Caedrel's going to go down to that passive pretty quickly. The Sun Disc comes out, Caedrel down into the passive, the kick back. Oh, inspired. That was almost perfection. Patrik able to survive for just a moment longer. Caedrel comes back alive, but he's done. It's a double for Larssen, and Rogue are just going to knock through the base. Larssen jumps forward once again. Just the damage coming out onto XL. This is beautiful stuff from Rogue, I've got to admit. Hans Summer kills Expect. That's his 8th death. He's racked them up at this game, and now Rogue can just look to push in.
Oh man, Rogue are absolutely ruthless inside of the base. They did not like any of the comparisons we made between them and XL. They mopped this game up.
Beautiful stuff by Rogue. XL really didn't stand a chance, and the hooks come up as Rogue go to 7-4.
Really solid stuff out of this team. You know, there were some questions coming out of that draft. Didn't seem like it was going to be the easiest comp for them to pull off, especially with the concerns we had about their mid game. But they have completely changed things around. Super on the nose in this game, constantly finding picks onto Excel in the side lanes. Big ups to Finn, returning onto the KLED after a tough week on that champion, looking super dominant. And the team around him willing to put those resources into him as well.
Yeah, Rogue had a game plan, ganking top, and ganking top, and it worked out so well for them. They had a 12,000 gold lead at the end of the game, didn't even need that final Mountain Drake. And if you want to get involved in saying who you think's the best, who you think rose above the rest, you can. Key player of the game at LEC on Twitter. Finn, Inspired, and Larssen are your options.